Welcome back. In this video, we are going to add the functionality which allows us to select the current location. So sometimes you would want to have the current location of the user, and I will show you how to get that. And you can see once I press this button, it will ask for permission. So of course, we're using the location permission. And then once we're done with that, we can then add the current location to this text field. So that's what we're going to do in the next video. For now, we're just going to implement that button and also this functionality, which is the permission request. So let's get started. Therefore, let's start with adding this little button here, which is not actually a button, it's actually a text view. So let's add that to our application. So let's get the correct XML file that we want to add it. And it's going to be the add happy place file. And here, just on top of our image, that's where we want to have it. So mcompat edit text, all right, just here. And I'm just going to use this one here. So it's a text view. I'm going to call this one TV select current location. It's matching the parent in terms of width. It's going to wrap the content. It has a certain margin, top, then a background, which is our shape image view border. So it has the same type of shape that our buttons have. Then I'm using the foreground selectable item background. I'm centering it. Then I'm add some padding. The text should be a string that we define. Text color will be color accent. The text size will be also a dimension that we assign. And then what's important are these layout constraints. And then of course we may not forget to assign the constraint for our appcompat image, which is now going to be at the bottom of this new text view. So bottom of text view, select current location. Of course, it's lacking all of the dimensions yet, so let's add those two. Let's go to the values and add dimensions here. And I'm just going to use those 3 dimensions here, which is add place current location margin, which is going to be 5 density pixels, select current location padding, 10 density pixels, and current location text size will be 16 SP. And then we had a string that we also need to add. So let's go over to our strings here. And let's add a new string, which will be the text of that text view, which is select current location. All right. Now let's go back to the add happy place. Let's see if the arrows disappeared. All right. And let's look at the design. And we can see now it says select current location. The button seems to be fine. All right. Now let's go to the class. So to the add happy place class, and then we can add some more there, which is of course our on-click listener. So here, let's add an on-click listener for our new text field. So it was a text view, select current location, set on-click listener, which is going to be this. Then we need to have a function which checks if we have the right to use the location of the user. So I'm just going to create a new private fun is location enabled, which will return a Boolean, hopefully true. And then val location manager, which will be our get system service and context dot location service. So here we are asking for the location service, and then we need to return something, and that will be return location manager dot is provider enabled with our location manager. And here maybe it makes sense to say that this is going to be a location manager object. And then it understands it. All right. And now, of course, our get system service should be used as a location manager. So then it's going to be fine. And here's going to be the location manager.gps provider, or it's going to return location manager is provider enabled, which is our location manager dot network provider. So we're checking either of those two. So this function will basically just tell us, do we have the location of the user, or can we get the location of the user or not? And it's going to return true or false. Now, of course, if you want to have the permission for the location, you need to add this to the Android's manifest. So here, let's see what we have. So read external storage, write external storage, and we had access find location there already, even though we have never used it. So let's add it just underneath, which will be the course location. So users permission, Android dot permission dot course location, access course location. All right, so these are the permissions that we have set up here. Find location, which is a super precise location, and course location, which is less precise. But sometimes you just cannot get the finest location, so it's going to fall back to the course location. And now we just need to set that up in our add happy place activity. So here we need to check, do we have access to the location or not? And that should be, of course, tested once we click on the button. So let's go over to the onClick function here, where we had all of those different onClicks, and now we have the last one, which is going to be underneath this one here. So it starts here, r.id.tv_select current location. So if that one is clicked, then I want to check if the location is not enabled. So is it not enabled? If it's not enabled, then let's let the user know with a toast. So your location provider is turned off, please turn it on. And then let's start with an intent here. So let's say val intent settings dot action location source settings. So action underscore location source settings. So that will just go to the location settings of the app. So the permission settings, and then let's start the activity that we just prepared. So intent, and then otherwise we can go and check with Dexter. So we can use Dexter here again with activity, with permission, and here actually with permissions, because we can use multiple permissions. So we're going to use the manifest dot permission dot access underscore find location. So here the find location is the one permission, and the other one is manifest dot permissions dot access course location. By the way, if this Dexter stuff and this with activity doesn't make sense to you, then please check out the Dexter demo once again, because there I explained in depth what happens here. All right, so then we can check the listener and create a new object here, object, which will be a multiple permission listener, in which we have two functions. So let's just add them. So the two functions that we need here are the on permission checked and the on permission rationale should be shown. So basically it's going to look like this. So we say with a listener, multiple permission listener, we have on permission checked. So if the report says that all permissions are granted, then for now we're just going to run a toast here. And the toast will say location permission is granted. Now you can get the current location. And then on permission rationale should be shown. So if the user didn't give us any permissions, then we're just gonna show the dialog for permission. So show rational dialog for permission, which is this function that we created before, where we said it looks like you have turned off permissions required for this feature. It can be enabled under application settings. Okay, so that is something that we have set up earlier in this course. That was when we were using the gallery and everything. All right, and now we use the same procedure that we used for the camera and for the gallery, of course, for our location. So here, when we want to use the location, we use Dexter again. All right, so at this point, let's test it. And there we are. So let's go ahead and create a new location. Let's click this button. And you can see it asks us for permission. So let's allow it. And location permission is granted. And of course, what we want to do, instead of just writing this little toast here at the bottom, we want to, of course, get the location of the user and then populate this location field here. All right, so that's what we're going to do in the next video. So see you there.